Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and I was traveling at the time that they announced it, but Bandai announced all of the leaders that we're getting in the first set of the Dragon Ball Super Fusion World card game, which comes out in a couple of weeks, and I'm honestly really excited about this. I normally don't do these videos kind of going over reveals halfway through the set, but since these are the leaders and these are kind of representations for the deck and, you know, the first card game, I kind of want to go over my thoughts of the leaders, kind of what they're meant to do, and kind of go from there. And a couple things. First, I think a lot of these will probably change when we see the card pool more outright, but I do have a good amount of ideas of what it's going to look like. If you guys haven't checked out my website, I highly recommend it. It's a great resource where I'm continuing to update the new cards that we get in the first set as they announce them on Twitter and such, but also I do have all the Star Deck series, so you guys can check that out, as well as printable proxies for them here, which you guys can get the links to and get your own proxies for these Star Decks. So I've just been working on this pretty hard as a resource for you guys, and I think it's pretty good for, you know, just getting an idea of what this game looks like and to kind of what to look forward to with it as well. But we're going to go over each one of these leaders. There are 8 of them in this first set, and then we're going to talk about kind of at the end, we're going to have like a little tiny tier list of my expectations with them going into it. Within, again, maybe a little bit early, but just kind of my initial thoughts of a lot of these leaders. So that's kind of the idea for it there. And we're going to start off with our Son Goku. So he is a red leader, and again, there are 2 of every color that we have. There are 4 colors in this card game right now. I think there's going to be a 5th one, since it is like a pentagon in the bottom left here, kind of how like One Piece has the hexagon, and there's 6 colors in that game. I also do want to mention it. I was half expecting to see some multicolor leaders, just because that was in the first set of the One Piece card game, and this is kind of like an in-between of the original Dragon Ball Super Masters card game and One Piece right now. So, but no, nothing super crazy, but I do think that these leaders are really exciting. And in case you don't know this, these leaders are double-sided. That's kind of how it works in this card game. So we're going to look at the front side. Most of the front sides are pretty uninteresting. It's mostly the back side, which is true for the Masters card game that this was kind of based off as well. So this Goku, again, is probably like the standard for the front side of both leaders. Auto, when attacking, you get to draw a card, and when your life is at 4 or less, you get to draw 1 card and flip it over. And so the Awakened side of this Goku here, it has permanent your turn. All of your battle cards with Universe 7 and their special traits get plus 5k power, and when attacking, you get to draw a card. So honestly, this is a really basic effect, but I think it's something that's very strong. So again, like we have a bunch of these Universe 7 cards already revealed, going through them. So like this Goku, for example, this is one of the super rares from this set. So it becomes a 35k, and on play, choose add to 1 card from your life to your hand, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with 20k power less and KO it. So I think that's great, and then you get to get the plus 5k with it, and there's just a bunch of other cards like that exist from here. Not all the cards I'm showing right now, since they're not all of them, but there are, like this Frieza again becomes a 30k pretty easily. So I think that's something that's very strong. It's only on the offense, but you know, this game is kind of offense driven, and if you're able to get some like good power and get some good cards on the board, that does mean a lot of things. It also means that a lot of 15k, like a lot of cards are kind of balanced around being 15ks that I've noticed in this game. So you have to kind of put another resource to kind of pressure an awakened leader. So this Son Goku is kind of able to fix that by making all your 15k Universe 7 cards 20ks on offense on, you know, your turn. So I think that does make a difference. So it does remind me a lot of Zoro. It is kind of locked to only Universe 7 cards, but it just kind of depends on how the Universe 7 card pool works, but it's the main kind of theme and archetype for like the series. So I think they're going to make a lot of good like Universe 7 cards as well. So that is the Goku here. I think this one's going to be pretty strong. And then we have the Beerus. So when attacking, you get to, oh, it's backwards here. It has critical on the backside, and then permanent your turn. This card gets plus 5k power. And then on the Awaken, when your life is at 4 less, you get to draw 1 card and flip it over. So kind of the you know, the idea is that either, you know, that your leader is able to generate like a +1 in card advantage, right? And so the Goku is able to do it by attacking and drawing a card. On the flip side, Beerus does it by attacking and having critical. So it's less pressure that you want to kind of give to battle cards, but you're able to use this to kind of aggressively pressure your opponent's leader and make them take life, and then they don't get the card draw either. So with the permanent your turn, this becomes 20k crit, which is great for this card game. It means they have to give you a 10k counter our combo are they have to like lose a card from their life, since with critical it goes to your drop instead of going to your hand, which is pretty important. So I think that's fine. And then on the awakened side, it loses a critical, it has one attacking, draw one card, and then also activate main once per turn. Choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, it gets minus 10k power for the turn. And as far as we know, if something has 0 power or less, it does get removed from game. It might proc on KOs, they might change it for this card game. In Masters it was a whole different thing, but being able to not only just like actually get removal, but also being able to use it to get some additional like pressure on cards. But you can give something minus 10k power, and then for example, again, I'm going to keep coming back to this guy, this Goku, it says something with 20k power or less, so for free you can use this and this together, so now it's 30k or less if you combine both effects. So I think something like that can be very strong too. So I think that is kind of like this is probably more of my play style for red, for like the removal effect and less of this like the hard aggression with it. I do think that it potentially might be a little bit slow and a little bit grindy, but I do like what this deck does, and that is the Beerus there. All right, next up we have our Goku Black, so we're going to our blue leaders. This has the exact same front side as the Beerus, where you get the critical and you're able to be 20k on attack, which also is really nice. Just the fact that if you are 20k on the front side, that means that you can even pressure like most 20k backside leaders. So just like the Star Deck Broly is like the exception to it, but I think that's important. And then same thing, you get to draw a card and flip it over. And then the Awaken is when attacking, you get to draw one card and activate main once per turn. Place one Zamasu from your battle area to the bottom of your deck. During this turn, the next time you use and play Goku Black from your hand, you get to reduce the cost by 2. So honestly, this deck really just depends on how good the actual combo is. We haven't seen like a lot of good cards. We do have like this one drop Zamasu. So being able to, like, this is like the really, really important card, right? Because we have a Zamasu that costs 1, it means that we can play this for 1. If we can attack, we can, and then we can use this to reduce the cost by 2. So we get like a +1 in energy advantage pretty much. So let's say that we're awakened and for 3 energy, we can say, all right, we play Zamasu, we attack with it, we use our leader effect, and then we're able to go into our Goku Black vanilla card, which was right here. So we're able to use this, and so now we get to play a 30k 4-drop. We had to lose a card on board and hand, but being able to use this and get this out. So obviously this is like the worst card you'd want to use with this effect. I'm sure they're going to make some super rares with it as well, but again, like the fact that we have this one drop Zamasu, which we can use to help get up into our higher energy cards quicker, I think that's really important. So other than that, I think that's kind of how the deck works. We don't really have as much else of like the Zamasu and Goku Black stuff, so we can only do as much of thinking as we can without seeing those cards. But I think this is fine. It's a little bit janky. It's not as much as my playstyle, but it does mean that there's probably some good combos you get to do with it as well. So there we go. All right, next up we have Trunks, which is probably my more favorite one of the blue decks. It has one attacking, draw one, awaken, flip one over, and you get to draw a card. And then also on the awaken side, so 20k, draw, and then activate main. Once per turn, you get to choose up to one battle card with a cost of 3 or less and return it to its owner's hand. And I know like in like One Piece, this would be a really broken effect. This effect, like bouncing cards back to opponents' hands, are a little bit less good in Dragon Ball in general, since you can attack with the card the turn it's played. Obviously, you do get like tempo back for doing it, but it's also just any card, right? So not only can you bounce your opponent's cards back, but you can bounce your own cards back too. So that's important for using some effects. I don't think there's like any. We have like this on play Goku, right? You get to return this to hand, and then you can do the same thing. So you get the return. I'm just like, we can also like put Trunks back if we want to like attack with it. We get a blocker and get it back too. Like just the fact that we're able to attack with a big boy, and then if we need the combo power back, we get to do that too. So like being able to play with like even like the Barbarian, like the 2 cost, but like something else we can use with the 2 is that if we go to like the blue starter deck leader, I believe they have a 1-drop that draws a card somewhere. Yeah, the Trunks Youth too. So you can use the Trunks Youth. We play it for 1, we draw a card, we put it back into our hand, and then we get to do it again if we need to, right? So that kind of like cycle, an additional cycle, I think is great. And it lets you have like a lot of different possibilities for those effects. Also, like this Piccolo, we can play it. We get the, on play to get something back. We can attack with it, and then we get it back to our hand, and then we can get like another extra card back to our hand too, which for Gallic Gun is still broken. It's plus 15k, and you get to draw a card. Like that's such a good good card for blue, I think, as well. So honestly, I'm really excited to see what kind of combos and stuff you can do with this deck. Obviously, you can bounce back like your opponent's blockers and additional cards from there. There's not cost reduction in Dragon Ball Super Masters as it is, so this might not, like, I don't think you can synergize with stuff immediately. I'm not sure if they're going to use like cost reduction in this game, so it's less likely to hit bigger cards in your opponent's board with combos, but I think this is a really cool card, and this is my favorite of the two blue leaders at the moment. So there we go there. All right, next up we have our green leaders, Aandroidd 17. Pretty simple again. Draw 1 and awaken at 4. And then on the backside, it has permanent your turn. If you have 6 or more energy, this card gets plus 10k power. And when attacking, you get to draw 1 card. So honestly, this is pretty solid. I don't think there's anything super flashy with this one. I do think that it's just very solid for what it is. It's 30k for free, essentially, since you're going to get to 6 or more energy in green very easily, especially with just all the cards that we have already. So I don't, let me see, what ramp cards do we have? I know for the fact, like, we do have like the green ones in the green starter deck. So like example, like we have the destructive strength, which is really great, just being able to ramp, but also our super rare, or at least one of them, the Turtles, is very great at getting us. Where's Turtles? There's Turtles. Yeah, using the Turtles to like ramp us as well. So like this is a great turn 5 play for that deck, being able to use it to we get our 30k crit, and then we get to use it to play a cost of 3 or more from a drop into our energy. So which means on turn 5 we go to turn 6, and when it comes to our energy, and then we get to attack and do all the good stuff with it. So I think that's like, it's basic, but it does the job. It became, if it was like on your opponent's turn, like if it was both turns, this deck would be broken. But I don't think they would do that like on set 1. Maybe we'll see something like that in the next couple of sets, but I think that's good. The only thing I don't like about it is that you don't get like ways to use your energy later, which I think is like one of my, like what I, like the Broly leader does already. And you get like the effect, like, oh, if you want to use like the energy after you use it and kind of get the ramp after you're done ramping, being able to use this activate main gets you a lot of benefits as well. But that's kind of just how it is. I also want to go over the other green leaders. So we have the Son Gohan Childhood, and this one I like a little bit more. I do think like the Aandroidd 17 is great, but I do think the Gohan is a little bit better. It has on the Awaken side, when attacking, draw 1, and also activate battle, which means it can happen during your turn or your turn or your opponent's turn. Place one of your energy in your drop. This card gets plus 15k power during the battle. So this can again work on offense and defense, which means I usually really like this flexibility in being able to use these effects a lot of the time. And it says like kind of like, okay, well, like we want to usually ramp up until we hit our 6 cost, and then after that, like we really don't need to get to our energy. It also means that like if we use our energy, it can turn like a no combo card into a 15k power combo card, which is great. And I think this is something that I like what this leader does a little bit more, like the play style with it too. So in general, like kind of like in One Piece, how like we get to Tendon and we can be like really aggressive with how we use it. I think that's going to kind of happen for green in the late game as well, and you get like a whole bunch of like opportunities to use this, which is really nice. So I like the idea. I like being able to say I have this button I can press to have like a 35k every turn. Losing an energy is really expensive generally, especially in Masters, but I think it's going to be less expensive in this game, especially with the green ramping that we get, and that's kind of how it is. So I'm honestly looking forward to Gohan, and I think it's a really like generically good leader as well. And then next up we have Ginyu. Same thing, front side, draw 1, and then at 4 less we get to switch up to one of our energy to active mode. So we do see like all these other leaders, they get to draw 1 on the flip side, but this is using the other one. So being able to get one of your energy active mode, I think, is very strong. It's something different. It means that we do like get less draw, but we do get to potentially combo with our ability here. So we have this Ginyu. It says when attacking, draw 1, but also activate main once per turn. For 3, we get to discard 2 cards from your hand, choose all of your battle cards with Ginyu Force in their special traits, and switch them to active mode. So being able to kind of like use it to reset your board, I think, is great, either for like if we have some blockers and just like make sure that we have blockers for next turn, or just be offensive, which is probably the one we want more. But I will say like 3 cost and discarding 2 cards is pretty expensive. We don't have like not a lot, if any, Ginyu Force I think revealed yet. Yeah, I think we have like we can restand Birder. Hooray. I don't think that's the main card we want to use with this, but I think it's something that this deck's definitely going to depend on the cards, since it is very, very specific for Ginyu Force cards as well, but we're not there yet. So I have a hard time kind of interpreting and guessing what this deck's going to look like in power level, but it's definitely really, really unique for this game. And then lastly, we have the cooler. And it's the same front side as the Beerus and the Goku Black, and it's almost kind of like the villains, even though like Beerus is kind of like a villain and Goku Black's definitely a villain. Get this kind of effect, but again, critical 20k, and then when your life's at 4 less, you get to draw 1 and flip it over. And then we have our cooler when attacking, draw 1. And then the thing that I really like about this leader is this activate main in battle. So you can discard 1 card from your hand, choose up to 1 battle card with energy cost 4 or less, one of your battle cards, energy cost of 4 or less, and freeze a clan and its special traits and one of your energy and switch to active mode. So the flexibility with this is fantastic. It means that if we want to like get an energy back, you're in a really good spot. And even like if we need like 2 energy open for defense, we can use 1 on our turn and then 1 of our opponent's turn. The fact that it's activate main and battle is great. Also, yellows just kind of revolves around having a lot of blockers, and there are Frieza clan only cards, so it can be like, for example, this chilled, which means we can like attack with it, discard a card, and restand it and attack with it again, which is really great, and that kind of stuff. Obviously, King Cold is a good card, but in like the 4-drop 30k, it just means we can attack with it twice if we need to. Discarding a card to get like another 30k attack, I think is pretty busted in its own way. But also just the fact that we do have, for example, the yellow starter deck. We do have like the 4-drop King Cold right here. This one's really great. So, for example, we could attack with this, and then we discard a card on our turn, attack with it again, and then on our opponent's turn, they're going to start attacking at us. We can use the activate battle to restand it for the blocker as well and get that effect off if we needed to. So, real quick though, how activate main battle works. Battle is after when blocks would be declared. So we could use the effect to restand the King Cold, but we'd have to like wait until the next attack before we be able to block with it. So it's not like super busted, but I really do like the flexibility and being able to use this on both offense and defense, kind of the same way like I like the Son Gohan Childhood's effect, because again, it can be used on offense and defense, and the flexibility is there. The cost is a little bit heavy for both these effects because like discarding a card is impactful, but it just means like you have that skill. You see that skill of where you get this decision on when or if you want to press this button, and I really like this leader. Like makes me really interested in like what's the best way to do this and what's the best way to pilot it, which is like I think this is gonna be more complex than the rest of them, which makes me really excited for it. So those are all the leaders for it. And real quick, I made this little tier list. Again, if you skip to this part of the video, this is like really early. These are just my thoughts of the leaders by themselves because we don't have the full cards list, and I'm sure that there's going to be some cards specifically for like Goku Black and for Ginyu that, you know, oh, actually that card's really great with this leader, or I want to cheat it out with the Goku Black. But immediately, I think Goku Black and Ginyu are probably on the bottom tier just because we haven't seen what their stuff is. But generally, like at least like early into the card game, leaders that depend on specific archetypes are usually a little bit worse because we only have one card pool, one set like to go through. When we get more and more throughout the next couple sets, I think these guys get a little bit better. But for what it is right now, I think they're just probably the worst two, at least generically, right? They're very ungeneric, which is not super helpful for us. Next up for like 1.5, I think Beerus and the Aandroidd 1718 and probably the Trunks Future goes there. I really do like Trunks Future. It's honestly my favorite blue deck of the two of them. And the Beerus, even though like Beerus is more of my play style compared to just like the Zoro-like play style from One Piece, or just like the aggressive play style that this Goku is going to promote, I think that it's probably just in its okay spot. The fact that it does get like removal very easily, I think is really strong for you. I don't immediately like the no like, you know, draw on your, you know, front side effect from this, which I think you know, critical 20k every turn is really oppressive, but at the same time, I think I'd rather get the card draw, but we'll see if that makes a difference. And we'll go from there. And then kind of tier 1, we're just gonna scooch up these guys. I think these ones are just really good generically. I know Son Goku like depends on Universe 7 cards, but I have a hunch because Goku's from Universe 7. There's already going to be, I mean, we already have a couple really good Universe 7 cards. Like the Son Goku Super Rare just seems great in the deck. So that's kind of my idea that, you know, it's the Straw Hat, you know, tag from One Piece in this game. So I think that's going to be good. Cooler is fantastic. I think I think this is probably a really difficult deck to pilot 100% well, but if you do, it feels really great. And then Gohan kind of the same way. The fact that you get this activate battle, it's a really, you know, expensive cost to press the button to use the effect, but the effect that you get, like the 15k for free is a lot in this card game. It's kind of like a super combo almost. So being able to do that for just losing an energy that you might not need anymore anyways, I think is impactful in its own way. So that's kind of my thoughts of these leaders already. I think that they're really honestly for this first set, I think they kind of show a good amount of diversity, which is really cool, but also kind of show the identities of the colors for this first set as well. But that's going to be it for me. Let me know what you guys think about these leaders. If I put one of them too high or low, these are very temporary. I'm sure we're going to get some card releases. I'm going to be like, oh yeah, sorry, that Goku Black stuff is broken. We're going to move it right there. But until then, I'm going to just kind of put it there in this tier 2 kind of level. So that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys are excited for in the Fusion World card game, and I'll catch you all next time.
Damn it. Damn it.